Rune Removal Day is tomorrow, unless you're on Europe or Asia or literally 5 of the 6 servers, which means it's already happening. So every Rune Removal Day, I get all these emails, people like, oh, fix my runes, change my account, it'll take you 5 minutes, it's so easy. Guys, I don't have time to fix 190,000 people's runes. I know you think I do. I know you think I do rerune 190,000 accounts. That would be, if I had that amount of time, that'd be wonderful. But every time Rune Removal Day comes around, I always want to do a video trying to help people manage their own Rune Removal Days. So anyway, this is what are we calling this video? Oh yeah, we're calling this video 7 Habits of Highly Successful Rune Removal Days. Okay, that's the smart people get that joke. The nerds get that joke. For everyone else, what should we call this day? Don't be a poon, go fix your runes. Boom. Better title. Okay, so anyway, 7 tips for Rune Removal Day. Let's go. Number 1, it's Rune Removal Day, not Rerune Day. You don't actually have to rerune all your stuff. If you only have enough time, if you're not prepared, if you don't know what you want to do, you can just take the runes off units. If you have rune space in your inventory, just say, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed. You don't need to rerune everything. You can just take them off and rerune them sometime in for the rest of the week, whatever. Spend the rest of the week ruining things one at a time and not feel on a time crunch and overwhelmed by that. So just take that into consideration. Someone mentioned this to me in chat, and I was like, why did I never think of this? I don't need to rerune everything that day. I can just take it off. So, really helps for me having 6 accounts. I can rerune for the rest of the next 2 weeks. Anyway, number 2, build teams, not units. A lot of people are like, okay, I need to rerune this unit, need to rerune that unit. This is one of the things that Barry, this is like one of the go-to, what is it, phrases? What are the things Barry says? And he said this a long time ago, and it's always been like, this is what you do. Build teams, not units. Build teams that work together. Think about how when you're ruining this, don't ruin like, okay, I'm going to ruin a Tark. Don't ruin a Tark. Ruin a Tark that goes with the rest of your units that you're going to use. Of course, you're going to use Tark and Dragon to be 10, but ruin with whatever else you're going to do. Like, I want to re-ruin a Ritesh. Okay, well, what am I going to use? Where am I going to use that Ritesh? Is it going to be for Guild War defense? Okay, well, then that means that Ritesh needs to be a little bit faster than maybe you have a Perna, or maybe you have like a Fire Monkey, or maybe you have a Rakan, or some kind of like another tanky-ish fire threat that you want to move after Ritesh. This way Ritesh can go in an AoE defense break, and then you maybe need, maybe I need a stripper to go in before Ritesh and strip something so that he can AoE defense break, and then that third unit can come in and nuke something. Okay, well, I need to make sure the speed tuning is correct for those 3 units, so I need to rune them together. I don't know why I'm doing this. Rerune them together with all that in mind as a team, not as an actual. And it's a lot of this is based on speed tuning, right? So, and ruining like tanky stuff with tanky stuff and squishy nukers with squishy nukers, right? So anyway, we've got that, but speed tuning very important. Number 3, you do not need Violet for many PvE units. People always seem to think that you need, and I'm mostly talking about Vertiheal, Galley, and Tark, but I'm sure there's others now that I think, like, the more that you think about it, it's like, oh, this one could be, okay, that one could be, okay, you don't need Violet for, there's a lot of things you don't need Violet for. Vertiheal does not need Violet. I did a Vertiheal video not too long ago. Actually, whenever we got the event, actually, maybe that's like 3 months ago or something like that at this point. But you don't need Violet for him. Galleon, I don't have any of my Galleons on Violet. I don't have any of my Tarks on Violet. One of the reasons is you don't want your success rate for dungeons to be reliant on RNG. There's enough RNG. You don't want, if you have your success rate for dungeons based on RNG, you're gonna fail, right? You want guaranteed, you want as much guarantees as possible for your dungeon teams. So you don't need Violet. Prioritize. It's more important to have good stats for your dungeon teams. I would, if you have better runes, even weird runes that have damage on them or high accuracy and just have good value, use the value stuff. Not the like, oh well, this is my 35th best Violent set. Well, I guess I'll put it on a Tark. No, Swift attack or damage attack works great. Fatal, speed crit damage attack works great. Just make sure that they are speed tuned correctly with everything. Again, going back to speed tuning correctly. But you do not need Violent for many PvE units. There's some exceptions though. There's some exceptions, like you want your cleansers to be Violent in R5. You don't need the other units to be Violent necessarily, but you want your cleansers to be Violent. Also for Necro, kind of helps to have Violent on Necro for your units. So anyway, you don't need Violent for a lot of things that people like to, for some reason, have this misconception that they need Violent for. Okay, next one. What is your goal? A lot of people don't know what the goal is. What is your goal for the next month? Is your goal to be better in RTA? Well, then maybe focus on reruning stuff for RTA. Is your goal to do the homunculus? Well, then maybe you don't need to worry so much about like tweaking your giant's time if you're trying to farm homunculus scalps and trying to then like focus, okay, maybe I should focus my runes on things for rift beasts if that's my goal for the next month, right? So for example, my goal on my Asia server is I need to do R5. So I'm gonna rune things to have a solid R5 team on Asia server. On Europe server, I want to do really good in RTA. I want to try to get C1 in RTA so I can get Artemiel wings. So I want to try to focus my runes on my RTA units. So that's my priority for those servers. But the different goals, different servers, right? But what is your goal? What is your specific goal? Number 5, you might not need a Giants Dragons Necro team. This is weird. People are going to dislike the video just for this comment. Here's why I'm saying this. Can you go, like, do you not have a ton of good runes? Can you go a month without a Giants B10 team? Can you just farm? Like, I'm not saying don't, like, de-rune all of the dungeon teams. I'm not saying that. But if your goal, maybe, like I said in the last one, I already mentioned this. If your goal is maybe doing Rift Beasts, well, could you take, maybe you have really good runes for Giants team, like some good runes on Tashar and some good runes on Yaku and things like that. And you're like, maybe, well, Tashar you do kind of use in Rift Beasts too. You could use Tashar in Rift Beasts too. But I'm just saying, like, just as an overall thing, if you are focused on something else, yes, you do want to have at least one dungeons team so that you can farm dungeons of some kind for the next month. But if you're mostly focused on raids, you can take some of your better units, if you have your better units for Necro, you can stick them possibly on or for like RTA or something like that. You can take units off of whatever you're not, maybe you can do without for the next month. Like, yeah, you want a Dragons team, but if you farmed Dragons for the past 5 months and you want to do something else this month, then as long as you have like a Giants or Necro team, you can farm at least those things. I'm just saying you don't need you can get away with not having a dungeon team for a month if you have some other focus that you want to work on. That's what I'm saying. Number 6, and I know people are going to dislike just because of that. They're just not going to understand what I'm saying probably. Number 6, good overall stats may be better than a mediocre meta set for so many things. I see this actually a lot of times. People have issues with their R5 teams. They're like, oh, I have this on this, but it's dying. I'm like, okay, well, you don't have good stats on it though. Like my Hua, for example, is on double blade and guard. But she's got really good stats because they're really valuable. They're like all legendary runes, but it's a weird set for a Hua to have, but they're just really good. And this makes more sense in like R5 and Rift Beasts and things like that. But it also makes sense in most of PvE though. Good overall stats is the most important thing. You might not need a specific meta like my Colleen is not on Violent. She's on like Double Revenge and Endure or something weird. But good overall stats is very important. So good overall stats, you might see an improvement in your unit or your team based on just the stats. And I'm kind of re-going over some of these other things. Number 7, last tip of the day. Don't try to do too much. Stop trying to do too much. You're gonna ruin your entire account with 200 units on it. I don't think that's gonna happen. Focus on one team, 2 teams. Try to focus on less and make that the best that it can be. A lot of people get too overwhelmed. There's so many units, there's so many aspects of the game. Try to focus on one thing and keep it to that. But anyway, guys, hopefully this helps you in your Rune Removal Day shenanigans. I know it does get overwhelming. It does. Trust me. I'm aware it gets overwhelming. I have 6 accounts. I hope that maybe good luck to you in trying to do your Rune Removal Day. But hopefully at least some of these tips helped a little bit. I have so many other tips, but so many of them are like focused on this and that and this and that, that I'm like, okay, let's try to, again, let's try to not do too much, try to keep it simple to 7 tips. And then I'll do another video with more tips on different stuff in the future. But anyway, I always want to do, like I said, every month I want to do a video of tips for Rune Removal Day. And maybe this helps you guys. But anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I'm going to be late streaming today. Joe Baker, you're terrible. But I am streaming, so streaming Saturday morning summons and all that shenanigans. So I'll see you guys there, and farts.